Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up, weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good evening. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let us not forget that. We got some things we got to talk about today, guys. There's a lot going on. I did a lot of shorts. So make sure you get a chance to check out some of my shorts throughout the course of today. I dropped a whole bunch of videos, little short videos, TikTok type size videos. So make sure you're checking those out, because I'm giving you guys a lot of stuff before we went live. Okay. This is some crazy stuff. There's a lot of crazy stuff. Okay. There is crazy stuff going on for sure. Okay. And Carla, oh darn. Just watch the show and you'll see what's going on. It's coming. Sorry. Hate to burst your bubble, but it's coming, Carla. So please do me a favor before we get into everything. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Subscribe here on my YouTube channel, please, and thank you. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right? Make sure you do that. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. That'll also be absolutely greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Go check it out. All right, guys. We got a lot to get into. A lot has been percolating since this morning and on, and we have a lot to talk about. All right. One of the main things we definitely need to talk about for sure. I mean, let's just be real. Okay. The title is not as crazy as you may think. I know everybody is thinking like, oh, how dare you say that you playing with people? No. There's a lot going on. And a lot of what I just am up here saying in the title or down below, wherever you're watching the show right here, is true. Dagnabbit. So sorry. I'm so sorry. Lo siento. Okay? Please forgive me. I'm just the man telling the news and letting you know what's going on. Okay? So please don't come after me. This is being written in newspapers or, news articles and anything. Do people read newspapers anymore? Do people actually read the newspaper anymore? Physical newspaper anymore? Asking for a friend. But nonetheless, these are news articles that are being shared throughout the whole world right now, and it's absolutely crazy. So let's talk about the first things first, okay? First things first. Now, I want you to know your eyes are not deceiving you on this title. You may be thinking, wait a second, is this a repeat? Are we having a glitch in the Matrix? The hell is going on? What is going on here? Are we lost? What happened? Because I could have sworn last week they said the Marines were being deployed. About 2,500 Marines were being sent to the Middle East. No. You right. Okay. You 100% right. But now they're sending 2,500 more. Yes. So the question is, why? Now, also I want to point this out. They're bringing in their amphibious troops. Okay, they do land and sea. So yes, it is not technically boots on the ground, but it is though. Why would you need to bring 2,500 more? Then on top of that, they're sending more ships, baby. Yeah. Three of them. Okay. Uno, dos, tres. Tres ships. I don't know how to say ships in Spanish. Somebody knows. But they're sending out 3 more warships. Warships, baby. Now, here's the thing. A lot of Iran, okay, leaders in Iran have basically been like, okay, you can do all you want in the air and the sea, but how are you going to take over when you're just doing air and sea? There's only one way you're going to be able to take over this country, baby, and that's getting boots on the ground. So when is that going to happen? Because you know for a fact you're going to lose. And Trump's like, I ain't scared. I ain't scared. He's been saying that. So in my opinion, something big's going to happen over this weekend. Something big's going to happen this weekend. I mean, there's already been a lot of big that has happened, right? I mean, you have Iran being hit, Israel hitting one of their major natural gas fields, right? Then Israel gets mad, and it's massive. That's a massive deal doing that, okay? Massive freaking deal doing that. Very bad. A lot of the world's oil, a lot of the world's gas comes from that field, okay? Now, Israel gets mad, Iran gets mad because of getting hit. So they retaliate and hit Qatar or Qatar or however they're saying it, okay? Forgive me for these mispronunciations, but nonetheless, those people, Qatar is like, what the hell? We ain't doing nothing. So Trump steps in and says, hey, we did not authorize anything from Israel to do any of the attacks on that gas field. This is a very bad thing, but Qatar has nothing to do with this. If you keep attacking Qatar, we will be going after you of the likes you've never seen before, right? So already big things have already escalated. A lot of things have escalated as of late. Let's not forget Kharg Island as well, which we will talk about, because apparently now exactly what I was expecting in the first place, that now Trump is side-eyeing Kharg Island again. What the hell does that mean, right? Because if you really think about it, something's going to go down this weekend. That is it. More Marines are being sent to the Middle East. Two things could be happening, and two things could be happening at the same damn time. One, he underestimated the power of Iran, and we got Marines getting hurt. Ride with me for a second. Okay. This is just speculation. Speculation warning, okay? Speculation warning, okay? This is just speculation. I don't have any proof of this. All right. Hold on. Let me get the speculation warning thing up here real quick. Speculation warning, all right? Speculation is he sent those 2,500 Marines out there, and he said, oh, damn, this is a lot bigger of a problem than I ever expected. Damn, they're coming back hurt. Or maybe in body bags. I'll explain that in a second, too, the possibility of that. So they have to send more. So that could be one. That could be one thing. Or he has a much bigger plan he has a much bigger plan. And he wants to make sure that he has enough Marines and enough boots out there so that he can actually do a full-on boots on the ground movement over the next several days. Possibly over this weekend. It could also be two things. It could also be that it's a lot bigger of a problem than he ever expected, but he also wants to do ground invasion. And the only way to take over Iran, Strait of Hormuz, or even Kharg Island, he needs to have boots on the ground. So let's send the Marines in, right? So that could be also true too. So again, a lot of things are going on right now. And no, you're not losing your minds, okay? This is not like it's a repeat, like there's a glitch in the matrix. You're seeing the same black cat walk across your way. No. Okay, if you're a Matrix fan, you get the reference. No. This is another deployment of more troops. This is not what, let me explain this to you guys. For those of y'all who are kind of new to the party, okay, this is not good. This is no bueno. Remember when I said about that analogy of actually, when when you're doing like a rehab of a house or rehab of like the bathroom, right? And you're like, I've been wanting to flip this bathroom forever, right? Like, ooh, we gonna have like, faucets coming out the side and everything. It's gonna be so good. You're so excited. The most soothing shower you ever had. Multiple head showers and everything. It's gonna be nice. The light's gonna have a speaker in it, girl. I can play my Vandross if I want to, right? But only you find out that you have more problems. It keeps on going backwards and backwards and backwards. It gets more and more complicated to rehab the actual bathroom. That's exactly what we're seeing here. He's like, oh damn, this is a lot bigger than I expected. This is a bigger problem. Damn, I need to bring in more reinforcements. And that's exactly what he's doing right here. This is also a foreshadowing, in my mind and in my opinion, that we are about to have boots on the ground very soon. Very, very soon. Let's take a look at this, though. Okay? Let's take a look at this. Thousands more Marines deploy to Middle East. So, thousands of additional American troops are headed to the Middle East as gas prices continue to rise, and the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran shows no sign of slowing down. It ain't slowing down, y'all. As much as we want to sit here and think it's not gonna slow down, okay? As much as we think it's going to slow down, it ain't. As we've seen from Pete Hegseth and from the likes of Trump, he keeps on saying it's going to continue going the way it's going, baby. Trump says he's going to end the war when he wants to. He says he's going to say when it's done. I say when it's done, right? He should have been done weeks ago, in my personal opinion. This should not have even happened, in my personal opinion. We already know that. So let's move on. A U.S. defense official told U.S. Today, the article we're reading here, on Friday that thousands more Marines are being deployed to the Middle East on an accelerated timeline, bringing the number of Marines joining the Iran war to nearly 5,000 after another unit deployed last week. So again, like I said, even myself, I saw this article and I saw a couple articles and a couple, video clips on YouTube. And I was like, wait a second, am I losing my mind? Or didn't they already deploy these Marines before? So why are they making a big deal about this? Oh no, we ain't wrong. We're not having crazy foggy brain or anything like that. No, they're deploying even more Marines. That is a huge, huge problem. So a day earlier, President Donald Trump said he's not putting troops anywhere. The idea of deploying troops to the region as part of a large-scale ground war effort is deeply unpopular among Americans, new polling shows. Yeah, a lot of people don't want this to happen, y'all. A lot of people don't want to see their sons and daughters being sent overseas to come back in body bags, potentially. All right. The average price of a gallon of gas rose to $3.91 early Friday, up from $2.93 a month ago, according to AAA. Now, Trump on Friday called NATO countries cowards for rejecting his demand that they help defend the Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping lane, which we already know about what the Strait of Hormuz is. Okay, still Trump said the war is going, quote unquote, extremely well. He also said another update, and he said Iran is done. They're finished. It's done. He's still saying that this issue is over, yet they're still out there dropping bombs like crazy. They're still striking things. So I don't get it. So Iran's foreign minister said on social media that the U.S. government says one thing while reality says another. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Since the war began nearly 3 weeks ago, the fighting has killed 13 Americans that we know of, and more than 1,300 people in Lebanon, over 1,000 in Iran, and 15 in Israel. Millions have been displaced across Lebanon and Iran. So again, this is not making any situation any better. Remember, We have been hearing nothing about, well, actually, remember they said something about regime change? Remember that? Remember the beginning of this show, beginning of this movie? It was all about regime change. What happened to that story? Real talk. Are we watching a Tyler Perry movie right now? What happened to that storyline? What the hell happened to that storyline? Anybody else know about that storyline? Because I could have sworn in the first episode of this season, okay, Operation Epic Fury is the show's name. There was a whole storyline. There was a storyline that was all about regime change. What happened to that regime change story? What the hell happened to that? Am I losing my mind or? What's going on? Interesting, right? Now, Miss Tori just said, I paid $2.89 in Oklahoma. It went down from $3.19 yesterday. But I'm telling you right now, I'm glad that it worked out for you. Soak it in. Enjoy this moment when you're like, remember that time when it was just $2.89? Woo! Those were the days. Because apparently it's about to go up even more. There is a straight up stoppage going on in the Strait of Hormuz right now as we speak. They're having issues on trying to get exported right now as we speak in Iran. So as far as that, man, suck it in. Enjoy it. Enjoy that 289, girl. Because I'm telling you right now, it's about to go up even more. It's about to go up. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to get worse before it gets any better. And I have a feeling that we may get back to a place because they're already talking about like U.S. officials won't be able to go to like vacations and like they won't be able to go to public places and stuff like that. Like Iran's going crazy right now. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit too. So it's going crazy. Okay. So yeah, it may drop a little bit, but it's going to go back up. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to go back up and it's going to continue going until things get figured out. And you want to know something else? Things aren't going to get any better because of things that just choices that are being made by Trump right now as we speak. I'm sorry. Let me tell you something. I'll be the first person here to be like, yo, Trump killing it, man. He doing dope things. He doing this, that, and the other. But this is not the moment. This is not the moment. Okay? You're going to see it spike. But you know what? Even with Netanyahu's like, yeah, you're going to see a spike. You know what spike means? That means it goes up and it goes back down. No, this is going to be up and it's going to stay up because it's stuck, Cardi B. All right? Just saying. So you might see a little boop like that. But keep an eye on the gas. Keep an eye on the gas because there's a lot of things going on overseas right now. And everything could be the future of gas prices could change solely from this weekend. Just letting you know. So I don't see anything spiking. I see it getting up there and staying up there for good until something changes. But let's take a look at some of these things. Let's take a look. Let's go to ABC News.
More than 2,000 more Marines have just set sail from San Diego, likely headed to the Middle East. That's in addition to the 2,000 expected to arrive there next week. Let's bring in senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez, ABC and White House correspondent Karen Travers for more. Louis, what's the latest on this new deployment of more than 2,000 Marines?
Diane, this is the USS Boxer Amphibious Ready Group that left from San Diego earlier this week. They are currently on a previously scheduled deployment to the Indo-Pacific Command, which is essentially Asia. But we understand from officials that they are likely going to be rerouted to head towards the Middle East to join an additional Marine Expeditionary Unit, which was just diverted from Asia last week and is scheduled to arrive in the Middle East sometime early next week. So now you have what's called the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit from Asia headed there now, and likely seeing the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit from San Diego headed to the Middle East in the near future. This is a land component. It's ground forces. They're aboard 3 U.S. Navy ships that can have amphibious capability. That means they can go from sea to shore, which means beach landings. They also carry F-35s. They also have Harrier jets, depending on which unit, and you also have MV-22 Ospreys and some attack helicopters. So you have aviation capability, you have land, sea to land capability, and you have a ground force. Now, what does this mean? Does this mean that something is in the offing very shortly for what's happening now in Iran? There's been a lot of speculation about Kharg Island, that very strategic island about 15 miles south of the mainland of Iran, and whether the United States will want to take that possession of that area. But again, all speculation. But when you're seeing these two forces now moving towards the head of the Middle East, what you're seeing now is a lot more of options that would be available to military commanders should the need arise for some kind of ground capability. But no indication right now that that is a reality. In fact, what we heard from President Trump yesterday was more indications that he has not made a decision, and as of now, he's not leaning towards the use of ground troops.
And Karen, President Trump is...
Hold on.
There's a lot more of options that would be available to military commanders should the need arise for some kind of ground capability. But no indication right now that that is a reality. In fact, what we heard from President Trump yesterday was more indications that he has not made a decision, and as of now, he's not leaning towards the use of ground troops.
That is a lie. That is a lie. I'm sorry, guys. That is a lie. You got to understand, Trump likes the element of surprise. Don't you notice that's the pattern that we've seen as of late? Hear me out. Think about Maduro. Think about that man. Think about that man real quick. Did we know that he was going to strike and take Maduro in Venezuela the way that he did? He did it in the dead of night while everyone was asleep. He had troops swoop in and take Maduro while we were all asleep in the middle of the night. Okay? In the middle of the night. Whose song is that? Why is that in my head? But anyway, while we were all asleep, they swooped in, took Maduro. Element of surprise. You don't think he's going to do that same thing here in Iran? Yes, I get that we're there. You know, we're there. We're dealing with stuff. We're flying in. We're dropping bombs on it. Okay, we're doing all that stuff. I get it. But at the same time, think about that for a second. You really think he's going to let people know, yeah, today at this particular time, at such and such hour, this is what we going to do? No, he's not going to do that. He's just going to go and do it. So, of course, he's not going to tell people, yeah, I've been thinking about it. Yeah, we are going to do boots on the ground. No, he's going to swoop in. He's going to have them go in amphibious. He's going to have them go in from sea to land without us even knowing until we actually know. You see what I'm saying? He loves that element of surprise. Whilst we are sleeping, whilst we are looking somewhere else, he's going and he's pouncing on it. I'm telling you guys, this is exactly what he's going to do. So again, you could sit here all day long basically being like, oh yeah, he's not even remotely thinking about sending troops over there. He's already doing it, baby. He's sending Marines. He's not sending more sailors and more freaking Air Force. He's sending Marines, guys. What, the Marines are going to stand there on the boat just sitting there going, well, look at that water. Ooh, I see that sand right there. You can see it. No, they're going to be used. They shall be boots on the ground very soon. But he wants to make sure he has enough over there so that when he pounces hard. Or as he says, a hard pounding. We're just going to keep pounding until they can't take it anymore. Just the pounding. That's what's going to happen, guys. So again, he's playing like we don't, he's playing like, no, I'm not even thinking about it. Yes, he is. Yes, he mother-loving is.
And Karen, President Trump is calling Americans' NATO allies cowards for refusing to help him reopen the Strait of Hormuz. What else are you hearing about what he wants them to do?
Yeah, Diane, this is the ongoing pressure campaign from the president that we've heard over the last week, where he is pushing NATO allies to get involved in an effort to reopen the strait, but at the same time saying that this help is not needed. And now in this new social media post, the president is calling these countries cowards and saying that he will remember this. He says that this would be easy for European allies to do with, quote, so little risk. Louis was talking there about some of the options. One option we know that the president was presented with was using U.S. military assets to reopen the strait, but he has been trying to get other countries to get involved in this. Now, we have heard from numerous European leaders who say this is not NATO's war to fight, and that the administration did not build a coalition in advance. They didn't come to them ahead of these strikes starting to say this could be a potential issue. How do we figure this out? So there's been some significant pushback on that. We did hear from French President Macron last night, who said that France and other nations would assist in a ship escort system in the strait, but they wouldn't participate in what they said was a forced opening of the strait in the context of ongoing military operations. So essentially, they want to see this die down before they take part in anything that would have significant risk to their own military assets.
Israel yesterday.
Didn't mean to hit that. Hold on. So again, guys, we are living in some wild times. Okay. Real quick, before we continue on, hold on. Where is it? Hold on. Sorry. Trying to find this thing. Hold on. Dang it. I can't find it. It is fine. 1 second. Let's pull up a couple other things, shall we? Let's talk about the drones that were flying over Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth's cribs on military bases, shall we? Shout out to Jesse Weber on News Nation.
Now, we are learning about a whole new kind of threat, and this time it is putting the lives of our senior White House officials in serious jeopardy. Why do I say that? Multiple unidentified drones were detected above Fort McNair Army Base in Washington, D.C. That's the same base where Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary, War Secretary Pete Hegseth live along with other senior White House officials. You can see why this is a big deal. We don't know who sent the drones. We don't know why they were sent. We do know how scary this is. We do know the unknown could be very deadly. That's why I want to bring in former CIA officer and drone pilot, by the way, Tracy Walder, former Secret Service agent who conducted airspace security operations, Paul Eckloff. Perfect guest to talk about this. Tracy, how big of a concern is this?
You know, I think it is a big concern. It's less of a concern. I don't think that the Iran military has Shaheds just sort of hanging out in the United States. I think the bigger concern is what are called these COTS drones, or commercial off-the-shelf drones. So drones that nefarious actors or bad actors can purchase and then fly at sort of a whim. I think that is the bigger threat, in my opinion. I think we need to move away from this idea that Iran's drones can essentially reach the U.S. They can't. But it is a threat. And I think the even bigger threat is that the U.S. at this point, this occurred over the past week and a half, still hasn't been able to identify where these drones come from. So that's a problem also in our internal detection.
Just because they're not coming straight from Iran doesn't mean that they're not being operated by Iran. Does that make sense? So there could be sleeper cells chilling in America with access to these kinds of technology and being able to fly over these particular areas for sure. You see what I'm saying? Or it could literally be them out here. Okay, it could be America keeping an eye. It could be military keeping an eye on their homes. That could be it too. But at the same time, it is a little bit weird that it's being reported as such, and that we're not hearing anything from the Pentagon. We're not hearing anything from higher up military, top brass, basically saying, "Oh no, you guys are wrong. That is our drones." We haven't heard anything about that. We haven't heard them push back anything about any of this.
Tracy, just to follow up on that, what's an example you mean? Someone could just buy a drone easily, put something on it, and what could they put on it? And B, how hard is it to actually fly one of those and do whatever you want to do with it?
I hate to sound flippant, it's not difficult. This is what a lot of times we see with the cartels, quite frankly. The cartels don't use these militarized drones. They're using somewhat primitive drones that are relatively cheap that you can purchase online. I don't want to give people too many ideas, but obviously you can attach explosives, things of that nature to these drones. You're not going to do a tremendous amount of damage, but you absolutely can do damage and create a situation that's quite frankly scary to people.
Paul, is Secret Service prepared to handle this?
I would say while the drones represent a serious threat, they're not new to the Secret Service. They do represent a persistent and asymmetric threat that security forces have confronted. And in the Secret Service, we were exploring nearly 20 years ago. The threat capability from drones has increased. It's reported that there's approximately 1 million recreational drones registered with the FAA in the United States. What has changed is their weaponization and their payload capacity. But even beyond their use for explosions or introducing packages into a protective site, what's even more powerful for an adversary is the intelligence that they can gain from an aerial perspective to map out security forces and plan future action.
That's a really, really good point. Yeah, reconnaissance. I guess the question is, without maybe giving too much away, but it's up to you. Do we have the technology to track them, right? To see them before they come into a certain area and take them down, Paul?
Absolutely. The Secret Service, the FAA, NORAD, the airspace over DC is the most monitored airspace in the world. While the airspace is primarily designed to be defended from large commercial aircraft or even general aviation and be interdicted, a drone can be detected. The frequencies that they use can be detected, but these things can be set it and forget it. They can be launched and GPS flown. They can be flown by first-person view through goggles. And while they can be detected, you could launch it out of the back of your car, do surveillance for 5 minutes and have it back in your vehicle and leave the site, or even fly them over a great distance. If they start inside your protected perimeter, you have very little time to detect and even less to interdict.
Tracy, I'm going to tell you, this is a very juvenile question, but I really don't know, so I'm going to throw it to you. You said you can't track them, like you can't track who purchases them. Is there any way, or you tell me if there should be a system put in place where you can track everybody who purchases a drone, maybe not every drone, but ones that have capability of flying a great distance and maybe for a long period of time? Is there any process put in place by which federal authorities can track the purchase of drones and where they're going and who's using them?
Well, listen, they are supposed to be registered right by the FAA, but I don't think that a lot of them are, to be quite honest with you. I don't think that nefarious actors are doing the right thing and are registering these, obviously, with the FAA. That makes it really difficult to track. But this isn't, sort of like guns and those kinds of things with serial numbers and tracking. Not all of them have this. And so, I hate to sort of sound pessimistic here, but it is probably virtually impossible to really be able to track those ones that are available just off the shelf.
Paul, how is it possible that you can have these drones over Fort McNair?
Well, it's possible because you have to consider also that drones are pretty ubiquitous in their use for recreation, with Haines Point across the street, across the water, and Fort McNair is nestled right across from Anacostia, where HMX-1 is based, the White House, in various exclusion zones in the airspace. So in a recent study over a 45-day period in DC, over 100 drones were identified. So it's not a new threat. They've been seen in DC before, but when you do the timing of it at night, that kind of rules out commercial drones, and it's less likely to be recreational. So it's more likely that somebody was launching something to look around. I would not ascribe terrorist ideals behind these particular drones. I don't find this particularly stunning as a news item. However, it raises the specter that this is possible. It makes it more likely here. And I'm hoping that it acts as a sort of a canary in the coal mine for law enforcement in DC to take this threat seriously and start deploying better technology to stop these drones.
I'm really glad he said that. I mean, again, I'm just saying right now, okay? You got drones showing up out of nowhere, showing up over people's homes, etc. That should be a massive, massive concern for any person out here. All right? For anyone. You should be concerned. I should be concerned. That is not a good thing, especially when things are so heightened right now. You got Marco Rubio's crib. You got the likes of Pete Hegseth's crib. Suddenly having drones showing up, several. They said several. It wasn't just one showing up. Several were showing up. That is a massive, massive deal and should be a huge concern for all of us. Now, here's the thing. I am very confused about everything right now because let me just say this. It's going to make sense. This is going to be a long piece here, okay? First off, let me just say this. Allegedly, Trump is saying that his next target could very well be Kharg Island, that he may just take over Kharg Island. This is a very, very big deal. Why I say I'm confused, I'll explain in just a little bit. Let's take a look at this.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, and this is the story. We have some brand new details around the effort to secure and reopen the Strait of Hormuz right now. I had a phone call earlier today with President Trump in which he called NATO weak. He has said this quite a bit over the last 48 hours and said that it won't help us to protect the strait now. He said, we know that when the big one comes, they're not going to be there for us either. Talking about NATO and the agreement that exists between the countries of NATO. He also wouldn't comment on new reporting that he's considering taking over or blockading Kharg Island to pressure Iran to get that strait open. Almost as
Hold on. Let me just say this really quick. You are out your damn mind. Do you understand? He takes it. Look at where Kharg Island is. You see where my my mouse is right there? Kharg Island is right there. Okay? Right there. You realize how dumb that is, right? We take over Kharg Island. We sit there. We're sitting ducks. We're sitting freaking ducks. I'm trying to understand what good would it come for us to go over there and take over, boots on the ground, take over Kharg Island. Remember, I said this before. Damn, I'm a genius. Let me remind you of something here really quick, okay? Kharg Island also does have an oil infrastructure. There's a massive oil infrastructure on Kharg Island. Don't get me wrong. He flew in. He dropped bombs on all the military bases that were on Kharg Island. He did not touch the oil infrastructure, all the piping, etc. He didn't do anything with that at all. He didn't touch it at all. Why didn't he touch it at all? Kind of like the same situation with what happened in Venezuela. He swooped in. He took Maduro. Now we run the Venezuelan oil infrastructure in Venezuela. Look at what's going on over here. Oil infrastructure, Kharg Island, massive export for oil on that particular island. Okay? If we mess with that, we mess with the livelihood of Iran for the Iranian people, not just the regime, the Iranian people. So now he's like, let me swoop in and let me take it. We already knew this. I already knew this was going to happen, guys. I already knew this was going to happen because this is liquid gold. He loves his liquid gold. I love it. He loves his liquid gold. So he goes in, he blah, 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 all over in the areas where there's bad guys at. All right. He doesn't touch where the money is. And now he's saying potentially, which is most likely going to happen, he's planning on taking over Kharg Island, where they make serious money. This is dipping into actually taking Iran's cash register. You understand that, right? But we're right there in the middle. If we went there and put boots on the ground in Kharg Island, we would be right there in the middle of all this BS. Sitting ducks. Sitting freaking ducks. Hey, Copper, that's a good question. Or is it a trap? I don't know. We go in there, we take over the spot, we will be sitting in the middle of chaos. Those Marines or the Army troops that end up boots on the ground on Kharg Island, I worry for them. I worry for them. But like I said, I'm confused because he's saying something else now, which is very confusing. And it may be his element of surprise. This may be his whole MO to let us not know what's up his sleeve. I'll explain in a little bit. Let's hear her talk a little bit more about this potential invasion of Kharg Island.
Situation where an island would be sort of taken hostage, essentially, since that's what Iran is basically executing in the Strait, keeping the Strait hostage from all of the commerce that generally flows through it. Correspondent Lucas Tomlinson reporting live from Dubai, a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. He served in Afghanistan. He covered the Ukraine-Russia war and the Israel-Hamas war on the ground. He knows all of the equipment involved very well. Lucas, it's great to have you with us.
Great to be with you, Martha.
So I want to get to that point first about these little islands. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you about, but I did ask President Trump about this earlier today, and he said, I can't tell you whether or not we're going to take an island. Obviously, that would be information that the Iranians would love to have more knowledge on. However, there was reporting in Axios this morning, quoting a senior administration official that said he wants Hormuz open. If he has to take Kharg Island to make it happen, that's going to happen. If he decides to have a coastal invasion, that's going to happen. But that decision hasn't been made, according to a senior official. And we're showing a map as well of where Kharg Island is. It's deep into the Persian Gulf area, a bit of a distance northeast from the Strait of Hormuz. So what is your take on this, Lucas? And especially given the fact that we're now seeing the USS Boxer heading to the region with an additional 4,500 U.S. forces.
Well, the Trump administration needs to take something that belongs to Iran that it wants back in order to get something. And perhaps that is Kharg Island. As you mentioned, very strategic island. It's located in the northern Persian Gulf, just outside Basra in Iraq and Kuwait. It is responsible for 96% of Iran's oil exports. So it's a very
96%. I had pulled up the information here saying that it actually, according to Google AI, okay, the island, Kharg Island, actually processes about 90% of all Iranian crude oil exports. He says 96. That's fine. Doesn't matter. It's still a lot. It is a major island. It is very important for Iran, okay, and for the Iranian people, most importantly, the Iranian people. If Trump takes that over, this is no bueno. And here's the other thing, too. As much as we sit here thinking, oh, yeah, things are going to, this war is going to be done very, very soon. For those who think that this war is going to be done very, very soon, it's not true. If we actually do take over Kharg Island, this is only going to rev things up even more. This is going to be a major, major escalation, guys, to the point where I feel like it's going to be a thing where we're going to have to, like, I don't know, maybe it's going to be a situation where we can't fill up gas on specific days or something like that, or have to be work from home, kind of like back in the lockdown days. You know what I'm saying? Like, we might have to be in that situation again because of how bad gas prices are about to become, potentially could become, if we actually go and take Kharg Island, if we get boots on the ground, if we continue having fights and issues about the Strait of Hormuz. It's only going to get worse here, guys. It's only going to get worse. This is about to get crazy, guys.
Very strategic choke point. And certainly we've seen Iran ship some oil across the strait over land on pipelines, but taking Kharg would be something that would be very valuable for the Iranians. That's one of the reasons we're seeing Marines being redirected. First with the Tripoli Amphibious Ready Group coming in from the Pacific. They're about a week away. We also heard today about the USS Boxer setting sail from San Diego. Now, keep in mind, it's going to take about a month for her to arrive. Typically, these amphibs, when they do Westpac, you're going to stop in Hawaii first, get more stores. But in terms of opening up the straits, President Trump trying to seek help from NATO allies. He called them cowards today. Some might say it might be hard to get Europeans to get on board when they're being called cowards. But the Europeans have to tread a fine line here, because if the Europeans are saying this isn't our war, what if President Trump goes back and says, well, what about Ukraine? That's not our war either. If you want our help with Ukraine, we need your help with Hormuz. So perhaps some dealings with the Europeans as well as the Iranians.
Exactly right. I want to remind everybody, how the president's term is weak on this. He said that they're a paper tiger. Mark Thiessen makes some great points in a piece that he wrote, just taking people back to just a few weeks ago, the beginning of this offensive by the United States and Israel. And Mark writes, all he asked President Trump, of course, all he asked was for Europe to hold America's coat as it defeats an enemy that threatens us all. By allowing U.S. forces to use European bases where America has stationed troops to defend Europe, and to fly over European airspace as Americans risked their lives to disarm the Iranian regime. The reason that we have those troops there, he's pointing out, Lucas, which you know better than any of us, is to defend Europe from Russia. It's pretty striking.
Right, and some naval experts would say that Admiral Lord Nelson is rolling over in his grave right now. The Royal Navy used to rule the waves. The sun never set on the British Empire. After World War II, the Royal Navy had over 1,000 ships. Today, the Brits can only muster about 13 warships, Type 45 destroyers, Type 23 frigates. Only a few are actually seaworthy. We saw one come through Gibraltar recently. None of those surface combatants can fire land attack missiles the way our guided missile destroyers can fire Tomahawk cruise missiles. Those are primarily for air defense. We haven't seen Prime Minister Keir Starmer offering those warships. And remember, it wasn't that long ago that he didn't even want U.S. bombers using his bases. Now at RAF Fairfield, we're seeing B-1 and B-52 bombers using that base for strike missions in Iran. And we also heard just yesterday from the Chairman of Joint Chiefs, General Dan Kane, talking about the venerable A-10 Warhawk getting after it on the southern coast of Iran, going after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps boats, and also Apache gunships as well.
So from what you see, Lucas, when you look at the mobilization that we've watched of these two Marine Expeditionary Units that were set in motion yesterday from Japan, and then we have the other one, the USS Boxer, the Tripoli first, and then the Boxer. As a military person yourself, a former military person, what does that mobilization tell you is coming?
As the Marines will be the first to tell you, they're self-contained units. So it's not just the grunts on board, if you will, the infantry. You also have logistics on board. You also have a large air component. Each of those amphibious ready groups will have F-35 stealth fighter jets, the F-35 Bravos that the Marines fly. You also have Ospreys, Super Stallions. Those can take Marines ashore. You also have the Vipers, Marine helicopter gunships aboard as well. So you're bringing a lot of firepower to the region. You know, we have not heard about the Army deploying divisions to the region or large numbers of combatants. So the fact that the Marines are doing this says that President Trump has some more options should he wants to take some of those islands. By the way, some of these islands in the Persian Gulf belong to the UAE. At least they've claimed them for many years, and Iran has taken them from them. So perhaps that's another potential target as well, Mark.
That is very
Listen,
interesting.
Listen. See what I said? You heard what I said, right? I've been saying over and over and over again. Yes, I get it that they're, amphibious. They can go land and sea, blah, blah, blah. But they're there for a very specific reason. So that he can do boots on the ground without actually saying he's got boots on the ground. They can fly in, they can drop some guys off, go for a particular target, do whatever the heck they need to do, hop back on that plane or back onto that aircraft and fly their asses back over to the warship. So again, come on now. You know what I mean? So this is, like I said, it's not technically boots on the ground, but it is. All right. So, but here's the thing. As much as we're hearing about trying to fight to get the Strait of Hormuz open, the possibility of him taking Kharg Island, he is also now saying that things are finished.
Here's the president, Secretary of State Marco Rubio by his side.
Get hit harder, but these are thugs and animals and horrible people. But you can't hit anybody harder than we've hit them. But I'm not surprised. They executed 3 young people for protesting.
And do you plan to escort those ships through the Strait of Hormuz with or without allies?
We're doing very well there. We're doing very well overall. We don't use the strait. The United States, we don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved a little bit on that one.
He said that we don't need it. We don't need it. The other people need it. So then why are you doing anything about what do we have anything to do? What business do we have? What business do we have to be doing anything with the Strait of Hormuz? Come on, guys, let's think about this logically. What do we have any business doing over there if that has nothing to do with us? If we don't need it? If he keeps saying that over and over and over and over again. He keeps saying that we, America, does not need it. Yet we're going over there acting like we need it. He's like, oh, Japan and the other countries, they need it. They use it, blah, blah, blah. They need to come in and do something. Then step back and let them do what they need to do. Like, what the heck is going on? See what's happening? Do you see what's happening, guys? Remember what I said several days ago, maybe a week and a half ago. I said things are getting so bad that the world market is going to get bad, and people are going to start, the other countries are going to start looking at Trump like, yo, what the F, bro? And they're going to be mad at Trump. So look at what he's doing. Now we are flying in and dealing with the Strait of Hormuz because things have gotten to a place that he did not expect. He bit off way more than he could chew. I'm going to be real. I'm sorry, guys. Let's just be real. Let's call balls and strikes here, okay? He flew in, he dropped some bombs. He thought it was going to be an in and out type of deal. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay? Just a straight up deep pounding and then leaving. Iran wasn't cool with that. All right? Was not cool with that one night stand. All right? And now they're saying, I'm going to remind you of what you did. And we're going to keep on keeping on. And we're going to keep fighting back. Right? And now Trump's like, oh, damn, it's getting worse. Now they're turning off access to the Strait of Hormuz. Now we got to fly in. Oh, snap. Now we got to do something else. We got to do something with it because this is getting worse and 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 worse. So now he's trying everything he can to save face when in actuality, he shouldn't have even done the dumb thing in the first place, love. Come on, guys. So now we're in this situation, and now he's also sitting here going like, we don't need it. We don't need the Strait of Hormuz. Never even heard of it until today. We don't even need it. But we're going to help, and then, hopefully the other countries will get involved. What? Strait of Hormuz was doing just fine from what we understand, before we flew in and dropped bombs on Iran. Can somebody else? We don't need it. Yeah, we're all up in their business. You know what I'm saying? We don't even need to be in this argument in this group chat. Why are we even added in this mug? But we in it. The only thing that's happening right now is that he's trying to backtrack. He is trying to save face because the other countries are now going to start looking at America like we are the bad guys that screwed up their bag. Think about that for a second, guys. That's what's happening right now. And now he's like, we made a mess and I need my other allies to come in here and help me clean up this mess. And those allies are like, no, man. You do you, baby. You made this bed, lie all up in it, baby. Enjoy. You made that mess. We ain't got time. We got other problems over here. We eyeballing Taiwan. That's what we doing. We eyeballing Taiwan right now. That's exactly what's happening right now. Okay? We don't need it, but we're all up in it. And we're bringing in Marines and we're bringing in possible troops on the ground and all that. So what the hell is going on here? What's really going on, bruh?
Do you still want South Korea supporting United States?
Now, what about it?
Do you still want South Korea supporting?
Well, I love South Korea. We have a great relationship with South Korea. We're helping South Korea a lot.
Mr. President, do you think Israel will be ready to end the war when you're ready?
I think so, yeah.
What makes you think so?
The relationship's a very good one. I think so. You know, we want more or less similar things. You know what we want? We want victory, both of us, and that's what we've got.
Mr. President, how will the operation?
Well, you know, I may have a plan or I may not, but how would I ever say that to a reporter? If I said that to a reporter, Marco would say, "Please, sir, let's bring you over to the helicopter immediately." Right? No, I can't tell you that. It's certainly a place that's people are talking about, but I can't say. Yeah.
Are you ruling out
how will the
there,
Operation Epic Fury affect talks with Russia on Ukraine?
What about it?
Are the talks on back burner right now because of
no, we're talking about it. I think it'll get done.
When do you expect the next round of talks to take place?
They take place almost every day. We're making a lot of progress.
You said that the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that? He said the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished.
So how much longer does the American people expect?
You said opening the Strait of Hormuz is a simple military maneuver.
Very simple.
Yeah, but what did you mean by that?
It's a simple military maneuver. It's relatively safe, but you need a lot of help in the sense of you need ships, you need volume. And NATO could help us, but they so far haven't had the courage to do so. And others could help us, but you know, we don't use it. You know, at a certain point, it'll open itself at a certain point. But we've defeated the enemy, and they are an enemy. They're a sick group of people. The leadership is gone. The Navy is gone. The Air Force is gone. The anti-aircraft equipment that they have, the radar they have is all gone. Everything's gone. The strait itself, the actual strait, how are you? The strait itself is... we're doing a good job, but it would be nice if the countries, including China, if the countries that use it, China uses it 90% of their energy. Japan is 95% of the energy. It would be nice if those countries would get involved. What? I thought she did a good job yesterday, actually.
In Europe, Lindsey Graham has asked for you to reconsider the American bases in Spain, in Germany, after what they have done in the Strait of Hormuz. What's your take?
Well, it deserves. He's right about asking that, and I think NATO's gone down a long way because they haven't. I mean, they should be helping with the Strait. They get much of their energy from the Strait of Hormuz, and if Lindsey Graham said that, and don't forget, he was the big NATO guy for a while, and now he's not. And a lot of senators and congressmen, they're very upset with the fact that NATO has done nothing.
Pope Leo is calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East. Pope Leo is calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East and to reopen dialogue. What do you say to the Pope?
Well, look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that. Thank you. Thank
you. One more there.
I bet he was a great guy. Wow. That guy in the house was moving the line. Yeah, he was Chuck Norris. He was a great guy. He was a really good, tough cookie. We didn't want to fight him. I think that he was a tough, great guy, and he was a great supporter. Wow. That's too bad. Tell his family, I hope he's good.
All right, looks like that's it. At the end there, the president reacting to the news that Chuck Norris has passed away. They were friends. He said he was a great guy and that he was sorry to hear that news. The president also saying essentially that what they need, and he mentioned this earlier when I spoke with him on the phone earlier today, that he says it's dangerous, certainly, but not that difficult to create a large presence in the Strait if all of these countries got together that use so much of the energy that comes through the Strait. I'm sorry, let's go back. He's answering some more questions. Let's watch.
And it's about.
I mean, if they all, let me just say this really quick. If they all hopped in and showed that, okay, like they all showed up at the Strait of Hormuz, this would be a different story. This would be. But they're not wanting to have anything to do with this. This this random, conversation that he had outside the White House just happened. This just happened. So this wasn't just something that happened this morning or anything of that sort. This just happened. So they're still, NATO and other countries don't want to have anything to do with what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. They want this to be figured out, and they want Trump to handle the problem himself. That's literally what we're seeing right now. But let's hear a little bit more.
Time. And frankly, it should have been done long before me. It should have been done before other presidents.
Why did you criticize the president? You took issue with the Strait, Mr. President. Polls have shown that MAGA is essentially unified behind you, as are Republicans when it comes to Iran. There's been reports that the United States might be sending 2,500 Marines to the Middle East. Are you concerned that a move like that could potentially change the unity?
Well, I don't know. I seem to have great support because CNN came out with a poll today that I'm at 100%. And they said they've never seen a poll like that. The CNN poll said I'm at 100%, and they've never seen that before, which is an honor. I was impressed that CNN would do that. But as far as troops are concerned, I can't tell you what we're doing.
Mr. President, you took issue with Australia, Japan, and South Korea this week.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
Very surprised about Australia and what? What would you like them to do?
Well, they should get involved, and I was a little bit surprised that they said no, because we always say yes to them.
What did Australia say no to? What did Australia say no to?
The UK has said that they'll allow the US to use air bases to defend the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, it's been a very late response from the UK. Surprised because the relationship is so good, but this has never happened before. They were really pretty much our first ally all over the world, first ally, and they didn't want us to use the island, the so-called island, which for some reason they gave up rights to it. And I was a little surprised at the UK, to be honest with you. They should have acted a lot faster. They should have acted a lot faster. Did you see that your former
Sanders was asked to leave a rent.
Do we still have that?
Probably
All
not.
right.
Maybe.
All right, we lost audio there, but the president talking about the United Kingdom, very surprised that they gave up the island. Diego Garcia, now he's back.
I think that Sarah's going to be just fine, but it's too bad. She's a good woman, Sarah.
Price of oil is way up. Stop market is down.
Better go up. Better go down. No. We're not giving a nuclear weapon to terrorists, and we're knocking the hell out of them. Their Navy's gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their leaders are gone. Their anti-aircraft is gone. Everything's gone. And no, I expected worse, actually. I thought that oil prices would go much higher when I did this. We just set every record in the book with Dow, with the S&P. Dow hit 50,000, S&P hit 8,000, 7,000 at levels, at speed like nobody's ever seen before. But I said I have to go off from that path and I have to take a little journey. We have to get and he would agree, but he's not going to say it. And this is not St. Patrick's Day, by the way. What are you doing with that tie? But we had to go off on a circuitous path and take care of business, and we are in the process of doing it. And I'll tell you, I think we're weeks ahead of schedule. My Secretary of State is very happy. Do you have a question for Marco?
Yes. How soon? President Trump said this week that he can take Cuba. How soon can that happen?
Well, I mean, Cuba's a disaster, and it's because of their communist government. It doesn't work. So I don't have any news for you on that today, other than that's been going on for 67 years. They're a disaster. It's the worst it's ever been.
And what are you guys hearing from your Senate colleagues about the chances of the Save America Act passing?
Well, it seems to be doing okay. It's voter ID. You have to have citizenship to vote. And I'm hearing very good things. I mean, I was hearing negative things because the Democrats are all against voter ID. They're all against citizenship to vote. They're against transgender. You know, they like the transgender thing with mutilization of your children. All of the things that we talk about. You know, we added two little elements. No men in women's sports, right? You know that. We added that. And when you add them all up, whether you take 4 or 5, I think they're all 95 to 99% issues. I hear it's going, look, it should be an easy pass, but we need Democrat votes. They don't want to approve voter ID because they cheat. They don't want to approve citizenship. In other words, we want to have citizenship in order to vote. You have to prove your citizenship. The Democrats don't want to do that. You know why, Peter? You know why? Because they want to cheat, Peter. Now, speaking of something that's more pleasant, see that? It's going to be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. Nothing like it. And they just started today one of the biggest pours of concrete that's ever been seen in Washington, D.C.
When they're doing the construction, does it ever wake you up?
It makes me happy when I hear those pile drivers. My wife doesn't love it, but I love the sound. I love the sound of concrete. I love the sound of pile drivers.
How are you, Mr. President? One question. How are you? How are you?
All right, you hear the president there, a little bit of competition from the chopper and the sound, but he really did much of the whole line there as he went through. He was talking about the Save America Act. He said, you know, voter ID, he's hearing good things about whether or not this is going to pass.
Okay, we're moving on. Yeah. So again, he is basically saying he wants to wind this down. He's considering winding down military efforts in Iran. But here's the thing. It doesn't make any sense because you're saying you want to wind down things in Iran, the military efforts in Iran, but you're also deploying 2,500 on top of the other 2,500 Marines that you've already deployed to the Middle East. And then he's also eyeballing the possibility of him trying to take over Kharg Island. So that will be boots on the ground in regards to that too. So all of it is just not making any freaking sense at all. Here's another thing. I did this as a short, but I want to share this with y'all because I think this is interesting because Pete Hegseth. Remember, he did this yesterday. I think it was yesterday, if I'm correct. He did a press conference, and he basically said that the soldiers, the fallen soldiers' families, all of them basically turned to him and said, you know, you finished this, and you get the job done, right? Well, in actuality, it's not entirely true. A father of one of the service members that lost his life in Iran has spoken out, and he basically said, that's not at all what the exchange that I had with Pete Hegseth. That's not true at all. We got to take a look at this. This is absolutely insane. All right. So Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth met privately Wednesday with the families of 6 service members who passed away in the Iran war. In a press briefing the next morning, he said the message he got was consistent and supportive. So it says, what I heard through tears, through hugs, through strength, and through unbreakable resolve was the same from family after family, they said. Or they said, finish this. Honor their sacrifice. Don't or do not waver. Do not stop until the job is done. This is what Hegseth said, right? Now, one of the people who he met at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware was Charles Simmons. His son, 28-year-old Tech Sergeant Tyler H. Simmons, lost his life. Okay, he's one of the 6 crew members that lost his life when they were refueling. When their refueling plane crashed in Iraq last week. So Simmons recalled his exchange. That he recalled his exchange to be a little bit different. He says, "I can't speak for the other families," which makes sense. But when he spoke to me, that was not something we talked about. This is what he told NBC News in an interview on Thursday. Simmons said he spoke separately to Hegseth and Donald Trump at Dover and was grateful for the warmth that both men actually showed him. He and Hegseth spoke mostly about Tyler, his impressive service record, and the speed with which he had advanced in the military. He also said he told the defense secretary, "I understand there's a lot of peril that goes into making decisions like this, and I just certainly hope the decisions being made are necessary." Asked if he said anything to Hegseth or Trump about the need to keep fighting the war, Simmons said, "No, I didn't say anything along those lines." All right. He's a music teacher in Columbus, Ohio. He told NBC News that he has questions about the war and isn't able to draw definitive conclusions when he can't draw quote unquote definitive conclusions when I don't have all the data. Who wants a war? He added. Sometimes it's a necessity, and I just don't know what's going on. So again, just like what we've all been saying, we don't know what the hell is going on with this particular situation. We don't know what's going on with this particular war, right? Like I said, in the beginning of the show, the beginning of this TV show that we've been watching called Epic Fury, right? They've been saying it's about regime change. It's about making that change, that man in the mirror, Michael Jackson. And what happened? Have we seen that change? Did they ever make that change? No, they haven't. But have we been on it about them making that change? Not really. Now it's about the Strait of Hormuz. Now it's about about Kharg Island. Now it's about that doggone oil. Has nothing to do with regime change. You see what I'm saying? So something strange is going on here, guys. Something really, really strange is going on. And like I said, in the beginning of this series that we've been watching, we were singing a completely different tune. We had a whole other storyline going on. And now we're like in the 3rd season of this mug. And we're like, wait, there's time travel now? Wait, what's going on? I'm confused now. What the hell's this all about? Wait, he's actually related to the woman that he met. Wait, what's going on? I'm confused. Did we just completely jump the shark? It sounds like we may have jumped the shark here, guys. That's a massive, massive problem, if you ask me. All right. Trump saying that Trump's saying Iran is finished, yet we're still deploying, yet we're still doing crazy stuff. Just doesn't make sense to me, guys. Am I the only one who sees that as strange? I find that very, very strange. It's kind of he got to make a decision on what he wants to do, and he needs to stick with it and just call it a mother-loving day. You see what I'm saying? This is a massive problem. One second, guys. Yeah, we should talk about that.
Right now, I want to pop.
Hold on. Take a look at this.
President Trump suspended refugee relocation and resettlement efforts overseas, citing the need to focus on national security. But now, in the midst of the war with Iran, many are left in limbo, unsure if they'll be moved to the U.S. as originally promised under the Biden administration. At the center of it all is more than 1,000 Afghan refugees and immediate family members of U.S. service members living on an unused military base in Qatar run by the U.S. State Department. The base has become a target during the U.S.-Israel and Iran war. In secret, refugees shared recordings with ABC News exposing conditions there. ABC's Tom Subi Burridge has their stories.
Are you fearing for your lives at the moment?
Of course we do, of course.
Underneath the starlight, the sound of missiles overhead. Qatar armed forces have been intercepting incoming attacks towards an unused US military base in Doha, the base becoming a key target since the US, Israel and Iran war began. And living at the base in a refugee camp called Asaliya are more than 1,000 Afghan refugees and immediate family members of active duty US military, according to a US non-profit called Afghan Evac. All of its residents were relocated to the base by the US. Many say they have been stranded for over a year due to the Trump administration halting relocation and refugee resettlement efforts. And since the Iran war broke out, many at the base have shared their fears that they could become the next target.
Every night we see above us in the sky all the children, the women, they are scared.
Since the beginning of the conflict, every night we hear the sound of missiles, impacts, and explosions that explode above our camp, and their fragments fall onto residential buildings.
In secret, people at the camp have shared video diaries and voice memos with ABC News, detailing the dire situation at the camp, explaining to us that debris from missiles have fallen into their living quarters. ABC News was sent this photo from one refugee who shows a massive hole in the ceiling of their housing. They asked for their faces to be hidden and their voices altered out of fear of being deported or reprimanded.
You can see the situation. This is our room and this is our shelter. One of my son is laying down behind the bed. He is sleeping. Every 2 hours or 3 hours, the missile is coming and explosion above us. Some of debris and some of parts of the missile hits our buildings. Thankfully, there is no loss and no injuries.
Residents say they have been hiding in buildings during attacks and said they were not initially given bunkers or proper protections to take cover. Now, 3 weeks later, ABC News received these videos where residents show us that the camp installed new concrete walling near the entrances and exits of buildings. Workers urging residents to take the bunkers in event of a duck and cover alert.
My little daughter, she's feeling scared. Please, we request you help us.
We spoke to refugees who said they also serve for the US military and are now caught in another war they didn't ask to be a part of. I spoke with a young mother who shared what it's like to raise her young child on the base with their future uncertain.
It's actually heartbreaking raising my firstborn. I think her first life steps are all in this camp, in a restricted area. She was not even 1 when I came here, and now she's turned 2. Raising my daughter in this environment is very difficult. I'm not able to always provide her with the food she needs or even what she wants, the toys she loves. Sometimes when the children are playing outside and when we suddenly hear the explosion, the families run after their children and bringing them inside. And some of the children are screaming and crying, what's happening? Are we gonna die?
Have parts of the camp been damaged by drones or missiles during the war?
One of the debris just fell into our neighbor's room that they had children in. I lived through a legal process organized by the United States government, which transferred me from Kabul to Qatar. We were given hope for safety, the opportunity to rebuild our lives.
Like this young mother, many we spoke with also told us they left Afghanistan legally after the US withdrew in 2021. And this situation brings them back to those terrifying moments. For serving the country and risking their lives during Taliban rule, they say the US government promised them a new life in America. And that promise has been broken.
I was a member of Afghan Commando Forces alongside American forces in Afghanistan. I fired shoulder to shoulder for the freedom and against the terrorism. I have been living here from last 18 months in the camp.
That's tough, y'all. Like, real talk, this is tough. And you hope that it would be a different outcome. And the fact that people are still waiting for something is terrifying. It's not even, it's just terrifying. It's horrible.
Teenager who lives with her parents on the base shared her story, her fears with us.
We came from a country that was under war for 48 years. Before coming in Qatar, we were living under Taliban government and we were living in constant fear and anxiety. Every 2 months, we changed the place of our living so that their identities would not be exposed. As you know, the school doors were closed to girls and I was deprived of education for 5 years. I feel hopeless because I am deprived of education and whose future is uncertain.
Since talking to us, she told ABC News that workers at the camp told refugees not to talk to journalists, and if they did, they could be deported back to Afghanistan. Afghan Evac has been advocating for refugees in the camp, writing a letter to the State Department asking the government to not leave the people, like the ones we've heard from today, behind. The letter claims that approximately 800 of the individuals at CAS, Camp Asaliya, are fully vetted, approved refugees who were legally cleared for travel to the United States. More than half are women, more than half are children. And many families are vetted and approved for entry to the United States. But the State Department has informed them that by March the 31st, they must permanently relocate to a third country. In an email, the State Department told ABC News that Afghan nationals at the camp do not currently have a viable pathway to the United States, and that they plan to relocate the camp's residents by March the 31st, telling us moving the Camp Asaliya populations to a third country is a positive resolution that provides safety for these remaining people to start a new life outside of Afghanistan.
Yeah, guys, I mean, that obviously is it's like the people just constantly getting forgotten. You know what I mean? It's very, very sad. And hopefully that gets figured out here soon. Yeah. This is something else that I wanted to share with y'all too. It's absolutely crazy. All of this is absolutely crazy. I hope that things get figured out here very, very soon. War is never pretty. And there are a lot of people that are losing their lives, right? There's a lot of people that are losing their lives. And there's a lot of people that are in harm's way too. They're just in the crossfire. You just never know. You just don't know how people are really living until you actually, until it's reported or talked about, right? But here's something else here too. I mentioned this before, and I need to talk to you guys about it too. Iran is making threats to target tourist sites worldwide. Yeah, guys, I have to hit the dun dun dun. Yes. This is very, very real. So Iran is now threatening to go, hey, no one will be safe, right? No one will be safe. Take a look at this. Iran makes chilling threat to target tourist sites worldwide. Pitbull, worldwide. Worldwide, y'all, as spring break kicks off in U.S. This is a very big problem, okay? This is a very, very big problem. Iran threatened Friday to start targeting tourist sites worldwide, just as spring break kicked off across the United States. Yeah, a lot of people are going, vacay, Cancun, we're going to go hang out with 10 boys and drink pina coladas. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's not happening right now. And I say, everybody keep your head on a swivel. Please, please keep your heads on a swivel, because this is not a good thing. All right. Iranian military spokesperson Shekarchi, hopefully I'm saying that right, blasted out the chilling warning on state TV. So he didn't write this. He didn't tweet it. He went to state TV and he said, tourist sites from around the world better be careful. You better be careful. Have mercy, as he vowed that Nordstrom, Skinfluence. All right, moving on. As he vowed that popular tourism havens would no longer be safe for Tehran's enemies. He went to state TV and he said, we are going to turn it all the way up to 11 and rip the mother-loving knob off. No one will be safe. This is insane. He says, from now on, based on the information we have about you, even parks, recreational areas, and tourist destinations anywhere in the world will no longer be safe for you. This is what the military official said. He stopped short of naming specific vacation destinations. That would have been nice to hear, right? So we can avoid those areas, right? That could be in the line of Iran's fire. The threats, which came as spring breakers descended across the U.S., renewed fears that Tehran could potentially revert to using military attacks beyond the Middle East as a pressure tactic. The Department of Homeland Security and FBI have already indicated that they are on high alert after the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran kick-started the war 3 weeks ago. Iran's fresh warning came after U.S. officials said 3 more warships, like we already know, and 2,500 additional Marines were deployed or are being deployed to the Middle East. This is absolutely insane. Now, this could be them bluffing. They could be bluffing, okay? This could be them bluffing. They're like, hey, you're going to bring in more troops and more warships? Oh, well, then every vacation site that you know of is in serious trouble. F around and find out, as you guys would say, right? F around and find out. Right? So they could be bluffing. They could be just talking smack. They could be talking a whole bunch of hype for nothing. And then nothing happens. And I hope that's the case. I hope that they're all just fibbers. Just a whole bunch of fibbers, right? That's what I'm hoping for. But I don't know about this, guys. We are living in some weird times. And again, you got them being angry about what has happened in Iran as of late. If Trump actually does take over Kharg Island, tries to get more boots on the, well, not boots on the ground, but more potential boots on the ground, etc., in the area that they don't want them there, they want them at, they could turn everything up, and it could be catastrophic everywhere. Remember, they said that they have sleeper cells everywhere. Sleeper cells everywhere. So these vacation spots, these fun little, these watering holes, these popular spots, especially now that it's getting really nice outside, is a potential for disaster. Now, this is not good. Iran's fresh warning came after the U.S. Said 3 more warships, and 3 more warships and roughly 2,500 additional Marines are deployed to the Middle East. Okay. So no decision has been made to send troops into Iran itself. Yeah, right. I think that the decision's already been made. I think we're sitting by and waiting for the element of surprise. Okay. But they would build up the capacity for future operations in the region. President Trump on Thursday insisted that he was not putting troops anywhere, as he said. But even if he were to do so, he would not tell the media. Obviously. So clearly, if we already know that Marines are being deployed to the Middle East right now, even more, they doubled up the amount now. 5,000 troops are on their way right now. Okay. Duh, he's about to do something. He about to put some troops somewhere. Okay. Where? We don't know. But he's clearly about to deploy and put boots on the ground any moment now. Now it's about the element of surprise. You already know that that's how he rolls. That's exactly how he rolls, y'all. The element of freaking surprise. Remember that. Okay. Now, let me pull this up. Real quick.
Good evening, I'm Bill Malugin, and this is your Fox News Report. TSA lines are getting longer at airports all across the country as spring break travel picks up. Passengers are facing wait times of up to 2 hours at some checkpoints. TSA agents are going without pay, and some aren't even showing up to work. The fight to fund DHS is still in a standoff in Congress. Today is the first day of spring, but it certainly doesn't feel like it for much of the country. Most of California, the Southwest, and parts of the Midwest are under extreme heat warnings through the weekend, with forecasts pushing past 100 degrees in multiple cities. Iran is threatening tourism sites worldwide as global travel ramps up for a busy spring season. The regime also says it is still making missiles despite 3 weeks of heavy U.S. and Israeli strikes on its manufacturing plants. The Pentagon now requesting an additional $200 billion to fund the war. That price tag would need congressional approval. Some student loans are moving to the Treasury Department. It's part of the president's plan to dismantle the Department of Education, the first to shift about $180 billion in defaulted loans.
We need to get back into the business of collecting the money that is owed.
Legendary martial artist and actor Chuck Norris.
Okay, so we already know about that.
There is no...
Hold on. Let me pull this up. Take a look at this. Oh. Right quick.
Briefing from the Pentagon today. But when they do brief, many people, including us, we've observed you almost get 2 briefings at once. You get the chair of the Joint Chiefs, Dan Kane, who gives a nuts and bolts review of the facts in the ground and in the air over Iran. And then you also get what is really a very political briefing from the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, with almost campaign-like rhetoric and terminology. So how is that being received? With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Etten. So how popular is the Secretary of Defense and what he's doing?
Pete Hegseth and those briefings are going over like a lead balloon. What are we talking about? Let's take a look here. Look at the net popularity rating for Pete Hegseth in recent polling. You look at Quinnipiac. Look at this. 15 points underwater. You think that's low? Why don't we go over to Yahoo YouGov? Even lower. Way down there at minus 18 points. Come over to this side of the aisle. Look at independents. This has been the story of the Trump presidency, and it is the story of Pete Hegseth. You think you see unpopularity overall? Look at independents, even lower, minus 28 points among independents, according to Quinnipiac. And then taking the cake, look at this, 33 points underwater Pete Hegseth is with independents, according to Yahoo YouGov. As I said at the beginning, he's going over like a lead balloon, not just overall, but especially with independents.
And the type of political partisan language he uses is a...
Have mercy. Isn't it crazy how they the commentary feels like he's talking about football? Nobody else sees that. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but at the same time, wow. Not people are not a fan. Are we not seeing that? Are we not seeing that? Just saying. Okay. But let's move on. with his New York accent. I love it. I love it. He's like, it's like a lead balloon. Overall, very low. Crazy. But hey, this you got to keep the kids interested. Okay, shiny red ball, shiny red ball. You know what I'm saying?
Break from almost every Secretary of Defense in the past that I can certainly think of. So how does his popularity compare to those past secretaries?
Yeah, past secretaries of defenses at a time of war, this early on in the war, tend to be very popular, very different. I mean, just look at this slide. Secretary of Defense's net popularity at this point in the Gulf War. Look at Dick Cheney. He was 62 points above water. Look at Donald Rumsfeld, who of course became unpopular later, but at the beginning of the Iraq War, look at this. He was 58 points above water. Pete Hegseth, I mean, look at this. It's just completely on the other side of the aisle, 17 points below water in the average. I mean, Donald Rumsfeld was, 75 points more popular than Pete Hegseth was in the popularity, and Dick Cheney was nearly 80 points more popular. He is on a completely different planet. This war is being received completely differently, at least when looking at the Secretary of Defenses. Normally, Secretary of Defenses are celebrated early in wars. At this point, Pete Hegseth is anything but celebrated.
Is this just a Trump thing? Can you say, hey, Donald Trump's unpopular, so all of his secretaries of defense must be unpopular?
No. Secretary of Defenses under the first Trump administration were popular, especially Mad Dog Mattis. I mean, take a look at this.
Wow.
Net approval of Trump's Secretary of Defenses. Look at this. Mad Dog Mattis was 37 points above water. 37 points above water at this point in Trump's first term. Compare that again to Pete Hegseth, 17 points below water. We're talking about Mattis being more than 50 points more popular in the net popularity rating than Pete Hegseth was. Pete Hegseth is truly unique when it comes to Secretary of Defenses, breaking records when it comes to unpopularity at this point in a presidency.
Damn. Okay. I mean, he gonna tell it like it is. Who is this dude? I don't know who this guy is. I'm sorry. I've never seen this guy before in my life. All right. But this is crazy. Okay. This is crazy. This is crazy. All right. Crazy. And Pete Hegseth, not so bueno, right? I mean, remember, this is from CNN. So I'm just saying that out loud. Okay. This is coming from CNN. All right. But at the same time, wow. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I feel like every place right now that is not for this war is going to be leaning towards anti-Trump. It just doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't matter. Because not everybody's for this. I know other news outlets are trying to make lemons out of this lemonade, I guess. I don't know, but or make lemonade out of these lemons, this war. But I don't see it. You know what I mean? Lick 'em low, Hegseth. I'm done. Lemon pound cake. Lemon pound cake. But at the same time, I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is Enton? Okay. Crazy, right? Hey, man, the numbers are talking. If this is the numbers, these are the numbers.
These things is not like the other. Harriet,
got that right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For this war, the Trump administration is planning to ask Congress for $200 billion. The president...
Can we talk about that for a hot minute? Just for a really quick hot minute, okay? $200 billion. $200 billion. He's asking for $200 billion to continue this war that he says isn't a war, yet it is a war. And $200 billion when we're already having issues economically here in America. But he wants to take that $200 billion and put it towards a fight going on overseas. Remember, he said this will be the golden age of America, that we're living in the golden age. I don't see no gold. And this war isn't making the situation any better. And as much as he says that it's done, and they're about to wind down their response and the America's presence in the Middle East, he's still deploying troops right now. He says they're finished, yet he's still sending troops out there. You got heads of Iran saying out loud, hey, we gonna attack tourist attractions, tourist sites. We're gonna make all y'all's lives a living hell. Consider all of these sleeper cells activated while your kids are off to Cancun or Puerto Rico or wherever the hell they are. In fact, probably 90% of your kids are still standing in line right now as we speak at the TSA trying to get through the security checkpoint just so they can get on the mother-loving plane. I'm sorry, but that's real. Okay? It's already a nightmare, and it's already murder trying to get through damn security checkpoints just so you can get on a damn plane in the first doggone place. All right? But when the kids actually get there, though, to their places, there's a potential hit looming over their heads because of what's going on in the Middle East. We didn't need this. We didn't even need this, guys. We didn't need any of this BS. We were doing just fine. Okay? Minding our own damn business. And now we out here in the mucky muck. What in the hell is going on here? $200 billion. You want $200 billion, but you're ready to pull out of the war? But the $200 billion is specifically so that you can continue dropping bombs, flying planes, doing all that other stuff as well. So if the fight is done, and if you are done with the war, why the hell would you need $200 billion more? This is where it's getting confusing. You see what I'm saying? He says Iran is finished, then bet. Walk out. Now, I know he doesn't want to do a whole thing like, George W. did, where he had banners up being like, we did it, mission accomplished, when it wasn't true, right? Mission accomplished was not real. It was all a big fat ass lie. But think about that. All that money that could be used for us, that could be used for things that we need in this country, that could be used for, I don't know, affordable health care. Let's just start there. All that thrown out the window now. Because he wants to go play war overseas. This is America, guys. And again, let's be real. If we were to back out now, would that be okay by Israel? Would that be okay? Would Israel be cool with that? Or would Netanyahu have a huge problem with that? Who he is alive, by the way. He's definitely alive. There's new footage of him out there. He's alive. In the same room as other people and all that. None of that stuff was AI. So again, like I said, it just doesn't make any sense. $200 billion for what? For what, y'all? For what? Okay? I think it's absolute trash. And all this is just, this whole thing is a clown. It's a whole clown show. All right? It's an ish show. It's a clown show. Something needs to be figured out. Let me get some of these super chats here really quick. General Genobi, thank you so much for the love. What's up? How you doing, sweetheart? Thank you so much for the love. A judge just ruled Pentagon violated freedom of press. Really now? That is news to me. It's about damn time, because they were also blocking people from actually being in these Pentagon press briefings because Pete Hegseth feels some type of way about photographers shooting him when he's like, I don't know, when he's got a bad look on his face or something. They shoot him in a bad angle or some BS like that. You know what I mean? It's stupid. And then on top of that, he's like, all you guys are terrible, right? All you certain media in the room, you're not even supposed to be in this room because all you do is lie. Well, you're lying too, bro. You are lying too. Thank you so much for that info. Jenna Genobi, thank you so much for being a member for the past 7 months. I appreciate it. He will put Boots there because he can't lose face. People will die for him to look like a loser. To not look like a loser, I'm sorry. It's all about him. At this point, I feel like it is about hubris. It's about ego. I truly think it is. That's the only reason why he is saying certain things and being very, very strange, right? He's kind of all over the place with like, oh yeah, you know, we're winning, they're losing terribly. I'll pull out whenever I want to pull out. You know, I'll call it when I want to call it, right? He says all these different things because he wants to lay those bricks out so that if he has to call one, we don't sit there and say, oh, you lost. Oh, so you lost the war, right? Oh, you're the one screaming uncle, not Iran. No, he's trying to lay those bricks out early, those breadcrumbs early, so that we don't scratch our heads wondering why did we pull out of the war suddenly out of nowhere? You see what I'm saying? He's putting the groundwork out there so he can save face. Absolutely. Right? But Boots will be on the ground, guys. That's without a doubt. It will be. Genobi, you got a couple other ones, so I'm just going to go through them here. Thank you for the support. I do appreciate it. You forgot his claim punishment for election interference. Oh, you forgot his claim punishment for election interference. And that too. I remember that too. But see what I'm saying? That if you're talking about the same thing I'm talking about, it is pretty crazy. Isn't there a whole investigation going on about the elections and all that as well? So weird, right? They're mulling women signing up through selective service now. Really? Really? Oh boy. Y'all, nobody sign up for this war. Please don't. Okay? Please don't. Miss Tori, I see what you did there. Welcome to the family. Welcome. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. And just like Miss Tori, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. That'd be greatly appreciated. Corey, what's up, man? How's it going, Pascal? Man, I'm chilling. You good? I'm good. I'm happy it's the weekend, right? Angelina, thank you so much for the love. If you listen to the audio of Trump telling the Prime Minister of Japan about Pearl Harbor, you can hear her groan when she makes the face. Listen. You know what? Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that really quick. Ooh. Trump. Japan. Pearl Harbor. Let's see what he says.
Japan and U.S. are very good friends, but one question, why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay.
That's real? I'm sorry. Her face, she's screaming. She is screaming inside. Do you understand that? She is screaming inside. Did he really just say that? He really said that. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to laugh, but I am. I'm sorry. She went, like her eyes get bigger and she's like, this mother. I'm sorry. He really did say that. He really did say that. Oh, dear God.
About the war before attacking Iran. So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did.
Oh, my God.
And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what and much more than we anticipated doing. So
Have
if
mercy.
I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right?
He likes the element of surprise, okay? He likes the element of surprise. Where did it go? Where is that?
Okay, why didn't you tell me about...
There it is. Look at her face. Oh, my God. She's moaning. She's like, oh, he really went there. Wow. He really went there. Oh, dear Lord. Dear Lord. Oh, man. Okay. He wasn't reading the room. It sounds like he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't reading the room. Yeah. Let's get this. Carl, thank you so much for the love. Good day. Good day in Australia. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love, watching the show all the way from Australia. Appreciate that, man. Seriously. I think Saudi Arabia will eventually take over Kharg Island. Saudi Arabia allies with USA. Yeah, maybe they'll join forces as far as Kharg Island goes. Maybe that will be the situation. I don't know, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see, but them taking over Kharg Island, I think, is only going to be disastrous. Okay? I think it's going to be disastrous. Just saying that, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Superman, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, Star Fury. What's up, man? Have no fear, Pascal. If troops are being called up, I will sign up for service again. War is my life. Wow. So we veterans will be in the front line. Don't worry, because I love America. Hey, that's beautiful, man. I mean, if that's your calling, if that's what you want to do, ain't nothing wrong with that, Star Fury. But I just say, does it have to be this one? You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Again, we weren't in any threat from what we understand. From what we've gathered, we were not in any type of threat with Iran. Now we are. Okay? But then we weren't. So again, I would just, sit back and wait for a war that's worth fighting for, right? I don't know if this one's really worth fighting for, Just saying. But, with all due respect, you do what you need to do, bro. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you need at your heart's content, right? So DB, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Off topic. What's your favorite food dish and drink, alcoholic and non-alcoholic? Wow, that is a good question. Let's see. Favorite food dish. That's a very good question. I love a good steak. I love a really good steak. And let's see. Alcoholic and non-alcoholic. Man, I don't know. I guess I'm boring like that. Good question. I don't know. Like my favorite non-alcoholic and alcoholic drink. Yeah, a good steak. I don't know. I've been on a birria taco kick lately. I've been making a lot of pho lately too, like homemade pho from scratch. And I've just been going crazy on it. So So yeah. Let's see. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. It's a very good question. I need to think about the other half. The other half. You know what I mean? Like I love a good Diet Dr. Pepper, like a Dr. Pepper Zero, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, lemon pound cake, you know? And in a good old fashioned, as far as an alcoholic drink. A good old fashioned. Made right. Because I've had some really bad old fashions in my day. So that's, yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. Somebody said something about maybe a suspect in Guthrie's case. Really? I'm going to have to look that up. One second, guys. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Real quick. Where did you get that? Where did you get that info? Well, they're saying that, okay, so here's something. This is interesting. Okay. I'm going to share this with y'all real quick, but they're saying, wow, they're saying that she could have had as much as these pop-ups, man, come on. My Lord. They're saying that the abductor likely had as many as 4 accomplices. So this is what a retired Pima County detective is saying right now. So let's take a look at this. This is very interesting. All right. So retired Pima County Sheriff's detective believes that Nancy Guthrie's kidnapping was premeditated and involved 2 to 4 accomplices. So Kurt Dabb, who worked with the agency, now leading the search for this the missing 84-year-old matriarch, told Parade that a high-profile abduction like Guthrie's would need more people than just the masked armed man caught on the doorbell camera. Like I've been saying, that there's more than just one person. There's more than just one person. Come on, okay? So again, I believe there are anywhere between 2 to 4 accomplices. And this is what he said when asked if he thinks that the suspect on the camera acted alone. And I don't think he acted alone at all. Logistics of something of this magnitude is too much for one person to handle, in my professional opinion, based on the facts as I know them right now, he added. So it's more than likely the home was canvassed prior, either by the kidnapper himself or an accomplice. Whether or not they knew a camera was there was a culmination of their recon work, basically. Dabb agrees with other law enforcement experts that her disappearance was not a result of a botched robbery, but a targeted kidnapping. Yes, it was kidnapping for sure. Again, referencing to the front door footage. Burglars don't go to burglarize a house with a full backpack. This was a kidnapping. Yep, I agree 110%. Okay, we already know about Savannah Guthrie and all that. And of course, police have not identified any of the anybody yet. They haven't identified a suspect or a person of interest at all, which is absolutely insane. So that's something very interesting, that now they're saying that there could be as many, or, a private investigator or, a retired detective is now saying that his theory is that there could be more than just 2 accomplices to the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie, which is also very interesting. And again, I think it was day 47. I think we're on day 48 right now, trying to find her, and still there's nothing, which is absolutely insane as well. Let me get the super chat here really quick. Martha Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. I see those boom booms in Middle East and make me thinking, are we prepared for something like that? Yeah. I wonder the same thing. Imagine that coming over here on our soil. Does the government have enough to protect us from these boom booms? Yes. I'm wondering the same doggone thing. Maybe that's the reason why he's asking for $200 billion for this war, for protection for us, maybe? I don't know. But you'd think that we're putting all that effort over there and all that focus over there, that you don't think that they can come in and swoop in and just boom-bitty boom, boom, boom? Or as Martha said, bum, 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 bum-bitty bum, bum, bum. Okay? Over here, anything's possible. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But we'll see what happens here. Obviously, we got the weekend now. So the weekend, things could happen tonight. Things could be popping off tonight. And if they do, I'll be right here to talk to you guys about it for sure. Okay? But that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Like I said, if there's anything that pops off overnight or during the night, I'll be back on. I will give you guys those updates live. If something big happens over this weekend, I'll be here to talk to you guys about it and give you guys the news that you need, okay? So please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush the do it a do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. Subscribe here on my YouTube channel. Please and thank you. Subscribe. Make sure you do that. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know when I go live, whenever I go and upload, because it is random. A lot of times it's breaking news and all that stuff as well, or whenever I can get in here and give you guys a live. So make sure you do that, okay? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out that Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. So go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Stay safe out there. Keep your heads on a swivel. And take care of your loved ones, too. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.